Welcome to Point to Rise, your podcast that gives you permission to dream big, take messy action, and turn your talent into profit while turning your back on perfection. My name is Susanne Purcell, high performance and mindset coach, former international ballerina, profitable entrepreneur, and founder of Point to Rise, a movement designed to empower dancers. It is my mission to use my own story as an inspiration for today's generation of dancers. And now sit back, stretch, warm up, or sip your coffee and love learning how much it matters to point at yourself first to rise to all that you are capable of. Christy, good morning, my love, and welcome to another episode of the Point to Rise podcast. We are talking about art and money today. So how are you? How was your week? And we'll explain why we're giggling right now.
My week was great. I feel like lately there's been new energetic thresholds to break through, and this week definitely was that for me. And I was able to do that, and I feel really great these last few days. So, how has your week been for you?
Okay, well, right.
Oh, you want to get into that?
I will get there because you said you feel like you broke through them. What does that mean? Because I'm jealous. That's awesome.
Well, I had some self-reflection this week of how easy it is to let outside external influences affect everything about your internal. So obviously we live in this world, and obviously we're affected by things that are not just us because we live here, but ultimately, you know, people that always seem to manifest what they're wanting to or have their dream life, they live in this world too. So there's really two perspectives you can have, and you can allow the external to dictate what your internal world is and reflect in every part of your world, or you can you can focus on your energy, where regardless of what's going on outside of you, you know, you could still be thriving. And so I really tapped into that this weekend and got a better understanding that if we are always looking for solutions outside of ourselves, we're going to forever be in this tornado kind of energy. And I definitely got wrapped up into that. And it was some deep self-reflection in the last few days to get myself back to a higher vibe. So.
You know, we may just have to turn this into a spiritual podcast. I know, and here's what I heard the other day. It was like that money is energy, and it has everything to do with spirituality. And the more abundance you have, the more room for spirituality you actually create. So I found that very interesting. We're going to explore that too. Yeah. However, how was my week? Freaking awesome.
Good.
Just awesome. Like, I feel like I am starting to step into where I'm supposed to be and what I'm supposed to do in every possible way. And it's that helping others, creating innovation, having a vision and living that out, and, you know, holding space for people that wanted to be part of that. And I want to share this. I was debating. So I don't watch much TV anymore. However, I binged watched the Bridgerton, I can't even say that out loud, Netflix series last night. Yeah, I don't binge watch. I went to bed at like 1:15 a.m. in the morning, which I also never do because I go to bed at 8 because I need my sleep. Yep. So I woke up I'm very hungover, in hyphens, tired. And it showed me, oh my gosh, this is how I used to live my entire dancer career. I was really well aware of what I did yesterday. I chose to stay up because it is so good. And I love just room combs. I love all of the romantic. Like if I could live in that time, I would be right there. Um, but so the struggle this morning, like I am so grateful to have all the tools that we have acquired over the past, I don't know, 5 years. Because if I wouldn't have had them, I would be yelling at my kids. I would be I would have probably canceled on you today. I would have still be in bed. I would be stuffing my face with chocolate. Um, yeah. And interesting also, it came out, it's like, oh my gosh, you're not, you're not feeling your very best. So I'm like, okay, I'm letting myself down. I have all of these dreams. I'm not setting myself up for success. And I so quickly forgot on how much fun I had yesterday to be completely absorbed in something that, I don't know, just brought me joy. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Then isn't it an interesting thing then when you have guilt around that after the fact?
Yeah. Oh gosh, yeah, because you know why? It's like standing in the studio having your teacher tell you, did you not lose those 2 pounds I asked you to lose? Shame on you. You didn't do what I expected you to do. And that voice in me is still so longing to be heard and to be coming out. It's like, oh, it's just different now. I can, like, the feeling of guilt, yes, it's here. But quite honestly, what matters even more is if we're buying into it or not.
Yeah.
And ain't no time for that, girl.
No.
No.
And then the difference between, I feel through development, you'll allow that ego and that voice to maybe dim a bit, but that doesn't mean that it's going to go away. That doesn't mean that we're never going to have that little peskiness. It's there, but if we don't make it our truth, that's the difference. You can say, thanks for your suggestion, thanks to the recommendation, and send that thought along.
Off you go. Yeah.
Or you can embed it and then make that part of your identity. I think that is the skill, not making those completely go away necessarily. Some things we might be able to unprogram. Some things I think we're always going to have that little naggy voice to try to keep us safe.
Everybody has it.
Familiar or whatever, but it's whether you can flick. Like I visualize that I literally say, thanks for playing. Thanks for suggestion. And I literally flick it away.
Oh, I like that.
I'm a very visual person, but I'm also a very physical person. I always needed to watch the choreographer do the moves, and I needed to mark with them while they were marking, because that's just how I get it in my body. So like that visual of being physical with it was what resonated with me to solidify that. So
okay, I like it.
Yeah.
Wow. Hang on, I have to just
today.
Flick it up. Oh, this is not video today, so this is okay. It's like a boom mic. We have a boom mic today. Huge. Okay, so today we wanted to talk about how to make money in 2021. And that sparked from a call I was on last Monday where I was asked that question, and it brought me back to being a dancer, where I never asked myself that question. How am I going to make money this year? And we'll get this, how much do I want to make this year? So let's get into this. Do you recall those times? Because, and there's no judgment. What we're saying here is that we don't know what we don't know. but you literally have the power to decide what you want, how much you want to make, how you're going to make that, and like make it something exciting and not a byproduct of what you love to do.
Yes. Yes, I completely agree with that, and I do resonate with the perspective of that. That was never the goal. That was never part of my, you know, beginning of each year looking at the next year of what I would love. It was goals of, who I wanted to work for, what shows I wanted to do, that kind of thing. But from a monetary standpoint, it was never even never even in the picture at all. Never a thought. Never a thought at all.
You know, so the only way in Germany when I was dancing there that I could make more money is not by getting a raise, but performing soloist roles as a core dancer, because we would get, like, depending on the difficulty of the role, get extra money per show.
Yeah.
Okay. And that was the only way we could, or so I thought, was the only way I could make more money. Now, that didn't exist in North America at all. Not at the smaller companies. I'm sure the bigger companies, they're all unionized. You have those kind of things in place, I would think. I am not aware of it. However, so when I couldn't dance a solo because I was sick, or yeah, because I was sick, I was sad because I didn't make that extra money, because the base salary of a core dancer in Berlin was, how much did I make? I think 2 grand a month,
Mm-hmm.
which, was lovely, but that just covered my living expenses. And there
Yeah.
was enough, or so I thought, because I didn't know. It was just there. Um, I wasn't smart around money, and I just took it as something that I need to eat and sleep, and I never made it work for me. However, that is definitely a possibility that is out there. So let me let me ask you that. When did you start actually building a different relationship with money? Like understanding that it is not something that is evil and bad, but it is something that can make such a big difference in the world.
Mm. Really, maybe about a year and a half ago. Very, very recently. Very recently. That in my personal development journey has by far been the most embedded and most tumultuous for me to work through, because I really had so much guilt around the desire to make money. I really did. I really thought from a deep emotional aspect that it was bad for me to desire it, to want to make a lot, or to, the word millionaire is like that just, you might as well have said something in a different language to me. It just did, like, I felt nothing when I heard that, and it just felt like, I don't know, it wasn't even an association with me. I couldn't feel it at all. And so then I had to really reflect and ask myself why I felt that way. And there was unworthiness for me, but it was also, I had a story around that I would just be a bad person. Like, it just would make me a bad person because money is the root of all evil. Like, it was that kind of story that was just so very, very deep for me. But then I realized that charities, foundations, anything that you do good to make a difference, you require money for people. Yes, you can donate your time, but ultimately there are resources. Somebody requires helping that charity or that foundation to do good. And so when I looked at it from that perspective, I said, well, then why couldn't I be a person that makes a difference. Like, it doesn't have to be for me to need 3 fancy cars or houses all over the world. What if that just meant that I could have resources to, instead of just watch stuff and say that's wrong, somebody should do something about that, that I could be a person that would actually be able to do something. And so that it was really a hard like personal full shift 180 for me to just see money in a different way.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah. Do you, okay, where we're going to go from here. So it is asking that different or asking questions.
Yeah.
Do you know why I stayed up until like 1:15 a.m. this morning? Is because this TV series was like a conjunction of how life used to be
Mm.
and women starting to question society, question the things that they have to do in order to be seen or be married, their socially acceptance and their coming out and all of these traditions that were literally questions. And one of the questions also was that, we've been fed all those beliefs, but isn't it on us to choose to believe them and to live by them? It is, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think with really understanding that, that's where you're really tapping into your power. This is where you really experience your freedom. Um, Emma Isaac's book, Winging It, love it. She starts every day out with asking questions. Like, she's not making a to-do list. She's making a what am I going to create to do today list. She asks herself questions. How do I want to feel today? What do I want to accomplish today? And I find that particularly in the arts and when it comes to money and a business relationship and the creation, we are so much stuck, just like this series I watched last night, because we keep following these old beliefs and old paradigms that have perhaps worked for a long time, but thanks to evolution, no longer are applicable. And it's that letting go and giving yourself the permission to ask different questions. And when we're talking about money, what came up there for me when you said, it will come back to me? Yeah, no. When we have the choice to look at it from different angles. It truly is our choice. And yes, it is so easy to say, hey, I'm gonna be really, really content with my $900 a week. And here's what I can do with. However, if you were to ask yourself the question, what else can I do if I could? Then what would that open up for you? What would come up with you? Oh yeah, you said we can all give our time, and that's lovely, but we have a certain amount of time and energy that we can put in. Look at money as the multiplier of that time and energy. It can do so much more good. And it really is an energy that, however, and whatever kind of energy we're putting into it, that is what it's going to do with it.
Yeah.
It was really a big
Yeah. So
circle.
is my answer.
Yeah. I am waking up now.
Yeah, and that's why we work good together. We make this big circle and we just wrap it up.
Yes. But isn't that the truth though, hon?
Yeah. It's yes, because I mean, we could talk about this with any subject. We all live on the same earth. And there are some people that are thriving and seem to be in a state of bliss all the time or most of the time. And then other people who are suffering or everything is negative and doom and gloom and they complain all the time. And we all live on the same planet. So what is the difference between these people? Like outside of some circumstances or what we're brought into, that ultimately we all have a choice of the perspective of how we get ourselves into a different situation.
Yeah. And you know what? Luck, I feel, has nothing to do with it. I've seen quite a bit of people speaking up about, it takes a lot of luck to be seen as a dancer or to make it in the industry. And whatever industry you're in, it's about luck, 75%. And I'm sorry, that is not the truth.
Yeah, I don't.
You create your own reality. You create what you want to see. It has nothing to do with luck. Luck is such a powerless entity. Nope, not buying it. And
No,
don't even want to bring that into the next generation.
no.
Actually, let's remove luck from the vocabulary.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree with what you just said, especially just staying on the dance scenario right now for me. I was so unlikely. I didn't have proper training until I was about 12, and I was so far behind, and I kicked my booty for the next 6 years to more than surpass where I was supposed to be at my age, to go to Ailey, to then, still not necessarily know what my right fit was. And then I've had a full career for 15 years where I've worked consistently in this industry. And I don't think me being able to work at all the different companies and theaters and all that and get where I got was luck. It was dedication and I don't know, drive. There's so much more. I just
Showing up
I,
and being there and having conversations and
yeah. Yeah,
showing up.
exactly. So I think, yeah. Though I think luck, personally, I think luck is a word that makes it very easy for people to not put in a level of work or a level of energy because they see that as they're unlucky, or you just get lucky and they didn't. So, their energy's not in the right place. Everything's like you said, everything's energy and everything's a frequency. So what frequency are we at? Are we in a lack victim frequency, or are we in a, higher state where either people or opportunities are coming to us and we are open to receive them?
Yeah.
Because if you're in that lower state, you're not open to receive it. Money too.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
So I want to share this. You and I talked about this before we jumped on here in this workshop that I was in last week. We were talking about how we're going to make money. So we had broken down every channel of income that we have, and we have set goals for those and what that comes up to, like what's our overall goal. And then she said something that made me want to push the leave meeting button. And that was, now put another 0 at the end of your goal and go figure out how you're going to do that. And I learned in that moment that, oh, my gosh, like the thoughts that are coming in right now are so disturbing where I really want to go. It was, how dare you think you could ever make this much money? You don't deserve this. You're not one of them. And I'm like, oh my goodness. Like, are we starting all over again? And I could literally look at myself from the outside, seeing that little girl feeling so unworthy of anything and everything that I was just like, wow, you still have a lot of work to do. But I didn't get scared or I didn't judge myself. It's like, okay, good to know. You will get there once you break through those ceilings. You will get there when you do the work on a daily basis. When you really put in that 1% every single day to get better and better and better. How would you feel if I say, hey, Christy, your income goal, okay, put another 0 at the end. What does that bring up for you?
Same thing as what I said a few moments ago is like, I can't energetically see that. Like I can't, that feels like something I just look at and that can't like come to me. It doesn't feel like me. So same thing. Like I said, this one is the deepest root, which I love why we're talking about this every week, because there's been so much for me to work through. It hasn't just been like, oh, I don't know, I'm fine making money. I really have not been, and I've really had to work through this. So yeah, that feels like there's work to be done of what is the dissociation between that. When you add, that extra zero, I feel the energy shift in me. And so what is that? That's still a level of I'm trying to sit if it feels like unworthiness. For me, I'm not sure if it's that. For me, it feels like, well, what do I need all that money for? There's still that. Like,
Yeah.
there's that part of like, well, I don't need that much. Like, you know what I mean? So give more, it's something like that. It's like, okay, then why, what would you do with it then? Then what would it be for? If it's not for your fifth house in Bali, then what would you do with it? So that's something for me to reflect on of unlimited abundance,
Yeah. And
abundance versus unlimited abundance. Well, what does unlimited abundance feel like? And then what would you do if you had unlimited abundance?
so good that you're bringing that up. What would unlimited abundance look like? Um, I'm not ready to go there yet
Mm.
because I don't see myself in
Mm.
there yet. That even though it's like a tuck and a pull,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, I have to let go of so much in order to find that person that thought that way all the time. I had this conversation with my husband the other day. We were talking about, when did we start thinking we don't deserve?
Mm.
When did we shrink ourselves to thinking that we can only make a certain amount of money because we're in the arts? We can, we're parents, we're having all of these labels on our back, and therefore you can only make a certain amount of money. I remember in Charleston at CBT, a donor had given me her car because mine broke down, and it was a Mercedes M class. Okay. So that was a huge deal.
Mm-hmm.
And the comments I received from everybody around me, oh, did you get a pay raise? I didn't think dancers could drive a Mercedes. I don't think this is for you. You shouldn't be in this car. That doesn't fit together. I'm like, whoa, what? But that came back. Like, I had all of this coming into me and into my world, not understanding what the underlying message actually really was.
Mm.
And we really just discovered it the other day. And I also remember that, oh, my mother, bless her soul, she just didn't know any better either, because she was growing up like that.
Mm-hmm.
But her, why would you need this? You don't need all of this. Why do you always have to have all the new stuff? That most certainly created this push and pull, because my soul is so free and so strong and so overbearing at times that she just couldn't understand.
Mm.
Like, what are you telling me? Why are you telling me I can't? I'm going to go and find a way to get it anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I used to take money out of my mother's wallet to get what I wanted. Oh, yeah. Okay. Really open conversation. I actually had to go to a psychologist because of that. My mother literally thought there is something really truly wrong with me. And this 250-pound, I don't know, he seemed really old and stuck in a rut, East German psychologist looked at me with his greasy hair and greasy beard, and still, like, I can still smell the cigarette smoke on him. So what's wrong with you? Why are you doing this? And I was like 8 or 7. You really truly F people up with this kind of approach, you know? So if you posted it last week, if we keep taking our wounds and sharing them with others, we're we're just perpetually creating our own world over and over and over again. And this is why you and I are talking. Like, stop buying into these old beliefs. Like, ask questions all the time,
Yeah. Yes.
right?
Yes. Yes.
Rant. So, sorry, not sorry. Total rant. Look what's coming up.
I
Right?
love, yes, I love
Wow.
it. And actually this last year, my perspective has been to question everything. We should question everything. We should. We should. Um, because what we might be going along with, just because we were told that, taught that, we're seeing it around us, that does not mean that is the way we should be for at least for ourselves. We have to sit with us as individuals. There's so much collective. There's so much putting everybody in groups and or all together. It's too so gray. We're all individual people, and what's right for somebody else isn't necessarily right for us. So, I mean, if it's something that you're open to and you're at a position that feels okay, I invite you to reflect on all of the beliefs or all of the things that you feel and see if they're yours.
Yeah.
Because there's a
Seriously,
lot of
rant.
stuff that I got rid of in this past year that I realized was nothing to do with me, and I didn't come up with them. I didn't build that belief for myself. I didn't have that opinion. And when you pick those apart and you really put them under a microscope and you realize you think they're yours and they're not, and that's not necessarily how you think or feel about stuff. um Very interesting.
Yeah. Somebody else's truth does not have to become yours.
Yeah.
And I think that was my learn over 2020, is that I had taken on for my entire life so many beliefs,
Mm-hmm.
particularly when it comes to money. I mean, look at where it actually started. You know, I saw my mother fighting for money since ever my dad passed away, and she had to fight for his inheritance, and that went on 10 years. Can you believe it? And
Yeah.
her like getting sick all the time over it, and losing sleep, and I don't know, like it was. And yeah, no wonder we carry on this: money brings evil, money brings uncertainty, money brings all of these things. And when we're looking into the arts, yes, it can create so much, but when we keep chasing it, if we're not letting it in, but we're chasing it, we're not putting out the right energy.
Yeah.
So, to put a bow around this, I think you said it so beautifully. Two things: somebody else's truth doesn't have to become yours. And our challenge to you for this week is to go explore. What does it look like? What does your income goal for 2021 look like? Just write it down. Write it down and see where that could come from. And we both challenge you to not only take one income stream into consideration, but look, what else can you do? Like, what else are you good at? What else are you passionate about? There's so many ways on making an extra $300-400 a month, or even, whatever you want to do, whatever feeds your soul. What else do you want to do with your life except going to the studio and back into the performance location? So write down your income goal and then put another zero behind it, and let us know how you feel after that. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we want to know if you felt the same, like I have to get rid of all my anger and
Right?
unworthiness and oh, not for me. Yeah.
Stuff will
Yeah.
come up, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. But you have to sit down. It will take like just light a candle, make it comfortable, put your diffuser on, whatever you do to make your house a Zen place, and then write it down and see what comes up.
Yes.
All right. Well, Christy, money and
Thank you.
spirituality maybe is this is gonna
Right?
be
Yeah. Well,
the theme. I don't know.
that's a deep focus of mine. So everything kind of, whether I want it to or not, keeps wrapping up around that. So that's actually how I was able to begin expanding my energy around money, was just a deep soulful connection with me. Like you said, things are going to come up, get cozy, make the setting nice so it's not, an arduous task, but when you start to unearth who you are and you're able to identify stuff and decide, we get to decide if we don't want to be the person, we don't have to change everything, but if there are parts of you that aren't serving you anymore, this is a beautiful relationship you get to develop with yourself. And until we do that, there's so much of us that we would just walk around completely unconscious to a whole aspect of ourselves. So it's a way to get to know you better. That was a spiritual rant to wrap us up.
All right, guys. Till next week. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're so grateful for you. And let us know what's coming up. We're definitely here for you.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you so much for listening. If this message resonates with you, please pass it on to someone who needs to hear this right now. And if you like what you've heard, your feedback will go a very long way. If you just take 30 seconds and leave me a 5-star review, that would mean the world to me. Till next time, point at yourself to rise to all that you are capable of.